Why does a guy with mob ties, courtroom cases, and a broken fight record still move like he owns the entire fight game? Private yachts, Italian tailor fittings, parties with billionaires, and before Proper 12 blew up, Conor was already living like a Bond villain in Dublin. So here's the question. Was this just prize fighting money? Or was McGregor's empire always built on something darker? Conor McGregor, born in Crumlin, Dublin, is a plumber's apprentice turned prize fighter. By 2015, he was the UFC's loudest and sharpest weapon. A featherweight knockout artist with Irish swagger and a left hand that could end careers, but Conor wasn't just any fighter. He was an entertainer, a brand. The moment he touched the UFC stage, everything changed. In just a few years, he became the first man in UFC history to hold 2 belts at once. Everything he wanted, he just did. Irish flags, whiskey bottles, Rolexes, the man was marketing gold. And the money followed. Allegedly, before his blockbuster bout with Floyd Mayweather, Conor was already living like he'd won the lottery 10 times. Flashy suits, Lamborghinis, and penthouse parties, nothing was too crazy. In 2016, still mid-UFC career, he was already driving a $300,000 Rolls-Royce, wearing $40,000 watches, and taking private jets out of Ireland like they were Ubers. The contradiction? His actual UFC earnings didn't match his spendings. Sure, he got pay-per-view points, but even his highest early purses, a few million here, a few bonuses there, wouldn't explain the volume of wealth. The homes, the fleet of cars, the dozens of bodyguards, the cigar yachts, and the wardrobe that looked like it came straight out of Scarface. And this is where the timeline gets strange, so make sure to listen well here. Because long before Proper 12 dropped, before he boxed Mayweather, before the McGregor brand exploded into every bar in America, Conor was already rich. He was already surrounded by some dark shadows and already being whispered about in Irish tabloids. Not for knockouts, but for nightclub brawls and alleged barroom debts with very dangerous people. People you don't want to owe money. He had the image of a superstar before the bank account should have allowed it. And yet, the lifestyle kept escalating. The suits got flashier, the cars got louder, and the nights got messier. So, you have to wonder, did the money come after the fame? Or did something else, something off the books, fund the rise of Conor McGregor? Let's figure out. The internet has theories. Oh boy, does the internet have theories. Type McGregor money into Reddit, and you don't just get financial breakdowns, you get crime boards, pins, yarn, and whispers of the Irish underworld. One thread claims he's been laundering money for the Kinahan Cartel since his Cage Warriors days. Another says he's just a puppet for someone very rich, loud, and dangerous. The comments read like Netflix scripts. He paid off a $900,000 mob debt in cash. Can't be UFC money. Ever wonder why Conor never got seriously touched by the law in Ireland? He's backed by some cruel people. TikTok's even wilder. Videos spliced together pub fights, luxury car footage, and Kinahan news reports. One viral clip lays out a full theory that McGregor's Proper 12 whiskey was a front for Irish money laundering, backed by silent partners in Marbella. Another video zooms in on a dinner he had with Daniel Kinahan in Dubai, playing eerie music over grainy footage like it's Narcos Ireland edition. Then there was the 2017 Irish media frenzy after Conor allegedly punched a known associate of the Kinahan Cartel in a Dublin pub. Multiple outlets, including The Independent and Irish Mirror, reported that a €900,000 bounty was placed on his head. McGregor went silent for weeks, fueling speculation that backroom deals were made to make it go away. And in 2021, a photo resurfaced of Conor meeting with Daniel Kinahan in Dubai. The alleged leader of one of Europe's most powerful drug cartels, the same Kinahan who was later sanctioned by the US government and had a $5 million bounty placed on him. The photo sent shockwaves through Irish and UK media, with politicians and journalists asking why McGregor was anywhere near that man in the first place. And underneath all the jokes and memes is that one lingering vibe no one can shake. How did this man go from welfare checks to war wagons so fast? Sure, he talks big, but did just fighting and branding explain the fortune, or was McGregor's rise sponsored by some powerful people? The fans aren't just asking questions anymore. They're connecting dots, creating timelines, studying who he's photographed with and what cars he drives. And somehow a few theories, no matter how absurd, feel like they are true. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far and like the other investigations we've done, please subscribe to support the channel. From rising stars to suspicious insiders, we dive deep every single week. So hit subscribe and let us know in the comments who we should investigate next. In 2021, during an interview outside a Dublin gym, a reporter asked Conor directly about his rumored ties to organized crime. He didn't deny it, he didn't confirm it either. He just smirked, threw on his sunglasses, and said, "People love a good story." That's been the pattern for years. When asked about his income before Proper 12, he deflects. When questioned about the Dubai photo with Daniel Kinahan, he ignores it. When pressed about how he could afford a fleet of supercars before his big paydays, "I'm a businessman," he says, "don't worry about me." But here's what you never hear: numbers, timelines, or any explanations at all. No mention of investments, no mention of silent backers, no receipts. He talks about mindset, about work ethic, about being built different, but not about how a UFC fighter with a short record and long legal fees built a fortune that makes most CEOs jealous. It's not what he says that's strange, it's what he doesn't. So is it cartel money or not? Let's break down the plausible explanation. 1. Fight money and pay-per-view points. Conor wasn't just a fighter, he was the draw. UFC 229 alone, his fight versus Khabib, pulled 2.4 million pay-per-view buys. Even with UFC's cut, insiders estimate Conor walked away with around $30 million. Add the Nate Diaz fights, Aldo Mendez and Alvarez, and we're talking about over $50 million of UFC earnings. Still, most of that came later in his career, and the lavish lifestyle, that started before the big payday. So how was that possible? 2. The Mayweather fight. This was the jackpot. A freak show boxing match turned 9-figure deal. Estimates say Conor earned between $85 to $100 million that night. That payday alone could buy every car he's ever posted twice. But again, this came in 2017. The jets, the Rolexes, the limelight, already in full swing by 2014. 3. Proper 12 whiskey. Here's where the clean narrative locks in. Launched in 2018, Proper 12 exploded thanks to UFC promotion, Irish pride, and Conor's face on every bottle. In 2021, McGregor and his partners reportedly sold their majority stake for around $600 million. His personal cut, roughly $150 million. That kind of number makes the empire seem legit if you ignore the fact that he was living like a tycoon long before the whiskey ever hit the shelves. Oh, and the whispers that Proper 12 might be a laundering front for an Irish cartel. 4. Endorsements and licensing. McGregor has inked deals with Reebok, Beats by Dre, Monster Energy, and more. His name has become its own brand, tied to fitness apps, fashion collabs, and gym franchises. McGregor Fast. His conditioning program also brings in passive income. Add it all up, and you've got a mini conglomerate. 5. Smart investments. Conor's inner circle claims he's been quietly investing since his early UFC days. They name real estate, tech ventures, and crypto during the early boom. But again, no portfolio breakdown, no public filings, just occasional tabloid mentions and flexes on Instagram. So, yes, technically, all of this could be above board. But here's what sticks. Every explanation feels just a little too convenient. The whiskey hits at the perfect time, the boxing match lands like a lottery win. The UFC push makes him untouchable. And all along, the right photos disappear, the right rumors get buried, and the man himself says almost nothing. That's not illegal, but it's definitely interesting. Yes, Conor McGregor is smart, charismatic, a marketing machine. But this smart enough to go from welfare lines to Forbes lists in just a few years, with no clear map, no business pedigree, and a trail of unanswered questions, we're still not sure. Is it all hustle, perfect timing, and a little Irish magic? Or is there something darker stitched into the seams of his empire? Conor doesn't act like a fighter. He acts like a CEO with a body count. Cold, calculated, always 2 steps ahead. He's not just promoting whiskey or selling fights. He's building empires quietly, relentlessly, and with a kind of secrecy that feels less like privacy and more like protection. You can call it brilliance, you can call it branding, but you can't shake the feeling that behind all the bravado, there's a version of this story we were never supposed to see. Maybe Conor McGregor really is just a genius, a once-in-a-generation fighter who turned charisma into cash and knockouts into a global empire. Or maybe we were never supposed to know where the money really came from. Let us know in the comments, is McGregor a real businessman or something more suspicious? Subscribe if you want more stories like this, the ones that dig deeper, ask the uncomfortable questions, and follow the money when things stop adding up. And make sure to tell us in the comments, who should we investigate next? See you next time. Peace.